And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. And very happy to have Great Lakes Honda City as our exclusive studio partner. You can go there Monday through Saturday for sales and service, and you can get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. They have cars to buy and lease, as well as new and used vehicles, all different shapes and sizes. I love my 2025 CRV from Great Lakes Honda City. My dad just got his Ridgeline within the last couple months, so make sure you get out there today while they have your vehicle in stock, because sometimes it goes very, very quickly. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, some of you may be wondering why I don't have my goatee that I've had for like 8 years. I can't tell you, but someday I can. So the mustache is here for a couple days, just so y'all know. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe with you. Very happy to be here, hanging out with you where sports meets life. And I am so grateful for the opportunity that I have to be here this morning and celebrating the wonderful, wonderful work that is being done by the OCC cross-country squad, men's cross-country Region 3 champions in back-to-back seasons, and their head coach, Greg Kielar, who will join me in a moment, named Region 3 Coach of the Year in back-to-back seasons. So a lot of stuff to be proud about at Onondaga Community College, and we will be discussing that with Greg in just a moment here. And then, of course, we'll be talking about Syracuse football before we end the first hour. And as you know, on Wednesday broadcasts, the second hour is its own separate video, because fantasy football has become a show within Wake Up Call, and a show within a show, essentially. There's so many people that get involved around the country, and so we will have that second video air on all the same channels, and of course on our internet radio feed on Podbean, and that it will be for Fantasy Football Week 9 of the 2025-26 NFL season. So, with that being said, and without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege once again to be welcoming to the show Greg Kielar here with us. I had the opportunity to be around him and so many at Onondaga Community College just a few months ago, and it feels like forever ago that I stood in front of these coaches and let them know something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, which is put OCC in a very special place, to give them the opportunity to be out there consistently, to have the spotlight on them all throughout the year. And it has been a great couple months as we've gotten this thing started, and I'm very, very grateful to everybody at OCC, administratively, and of course want to give Mike Borsch a big shout out as well for the opportunity that him and I have been talking about for so many years. So with that being stated here on the broadcast, I do want to make sure we thank OCC and of course the city of Syracuse for having a place like OCC on the Hill. Such a wonderful place. It's always meant a lot to me. My mom spent some time there before she headed out into the workforce, so it does have a family connection. And so I just want to give a shout out to my mom and a shout out to OCC for all the work that they do in our community that maybe did not get the love it got before, but it will get that love now. So here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Greg Kielar, but we can't bring in the Lazer Lounge until we do it officially. And with that being said, I'm in the Lazer Lounge here in this exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Onondaga Community College and your Lazers with Greg Kielar, OCC Lazers men's cross-country head coach, and as I stated before, back-to-back Region 3 champs and back-to-back Region 3 Coach of the Year, and wearing one of my favorite OCC sweatshirts that I've probably ever seen. So with that being said, Mr. Kielar, how are we doing today?
Good, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm happy to have you here. Of course. It's my pleasure for having you. I'll just tell you, I mean, very simply, for those that that can see the colors that you're wearing and fully understand this, not just North Carolina can rock the baby blue, that sky blue that we love to see. So definitely appreciating it, and a congrats to you and to the team, back-to-back Region 3 champs, and for you getting Coach of the Year in back-to-back seasons.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm actually going to the game this Friday. I have to make sure not to wear this.
Yeah.
Don't want to get it confused.
Yeah, so, well, it's unique. And as I've told people,
Right.
that, Halloween is here. It is upon us. And there's been a lot of scary things that we've seen with this football team. I'm hoping that it will not be the thing that scares me the most on Halloween. I'm hoping nothing scares me on Halloween. And, Greg, I don't know if you have any fears, concerns, and whatnot, but I will tell you this, and I'll openly say it because I think I've said it on the show before. I am not for the ventriloquist dummy or anything that is human-like that is not a human being. Like if I had a daughter and they bought her a doll and the doll could eat and speak and walk around the house with me, that thing would have to go. So I want to know, going into Halloween, do you have a movie or a type of thing that you just don't like?
So I would say that, now that we've won the region, we're going to be going to Iowa for nationals. So my biggest fear is being late to our 6 a.m. flight to Iowa. And just like the fear of the logistics of getting all the kids there to the airport by probably like 4 in the morning at the latest. So that's like top of mind right now. After that, everything should be smooth sailing, but just making that flight, making sure that there's no issues with the travel to Iowa, that's a top concern right now.
See, that's a concern that is well warranted, understood, and justified. My thoughts about Chucky and ventriloquist dummies don't really,
Yeah, right. Like,
it doesn't
yeah.
fit what you're talking about. But you have a 6 a.m. flight to Iowa. Is it a direct flight or not? Well, no, it can't be because
No,
it's from
no.
Syracuse. So
Yeah.
where do you
I
have
think
where
a
do you have
lot
to
of people
connect?
connecting into Chicago.
Okay.
And the layover is only a few hours, so I think like total travel time is like 7 hours or so, so not bad. And then, well, once we get there, we're gonna rent a car and drive about an hour and a half north to Fort Dodge from Des Moines, Iowa. So get an opportunity to kind of see Iowa, the state, and the scenery, and check out some sights on the way to the hotel.
Yeah, so you'll have the opportunity to get out there and get a feel for it. I mean, the drive after the flight, your thoughts on that side of it, because obviously, Iowa and where you're going in Iowa is not something that is, I don't know if they have any flights there.
Yeah, so I love driving, so I'm actually
Okay.
like looking forward to
Okay.
driving through the state. And then after the meet is over Saturday, I told the guys, it's on you guys what you decide what you want to do. So, I mean, anything's on the table as far as what we can do after the race and where we want to drive. So yeah, I actually grew up in North Carolina. I spent, my high school years down there, and once I got my license, I would drive back to New York to see like family and friends throughout, high school and then college. So really like driving. I like traveling. So I know there's some kids on the team who haven't actually flown yet, and
Yeah.
they're a little bit nervous about the flight. But I think overall it's just going to be a really awesome experience, and I'm really excited the team is going to be able to get to go on that trip.
Right, and you talk about getting to go on that trip to Iowa, and when we look at where you've been to get to where you are, Region 3 champs, and not only Region 3 champs for NJCAA, but to be back-to-back champions. Just bring me into that. I mean, this is this is a culture thing. When we see something happen more than once, obviously you're building a culture. You have to do it in a shorter amount of time because you only have 2 years with your student athletes. So, how have you built this back to back championship men's cross country squad?
Yeah, and I just kind of want to touch on what you just said with the 2 years. That's probably the most unfortunate thing about my job is that it is only 2 years, and
Yeah.
I don't get the 4 years like as what we would with other schools. And so, I developed these bonds and with the student athletes, and then 2 years they're off to, bigger and better things. But as far as building the culture, my whole like coaching philosophy is just built on having fun, and like being flexible, being adaptive to different schedules, and just have everyone focused on one goal and just drive towards that goal all season long. And this season, same as last season, was to win the region. So I put less emphasis on meets earlier in the year. And I really use those meets as just kind of like trials, for, our runners to have different strategies, not really necessarily like taper for those meets. So we'll like continue to work out hard prior to those meets leading up to it because we're not as concerned with, like for example, like the invite season that happens before like conference and regionals. You know, if we do well in an invite, that's great, but we don't get plaques for doing well in invites, and we don't, get to travel to nationals if we do well in an invite. So we save everything for that one regional race. When it comes all together, it's really an amazing feeling to, have just like that team victory. Um, and Also like with the culture, like I said, like I just try to make it like a fun experience for everyone.
Yeah.
Running is incredibly demanding. It's a lot on your body. It takes a mental toll as well. So I like for, that hour and a half of practice each day for everyone to look forward to going to practice and not dread it. Like not dread that, it's going to be a tough workout or it's going to be a tough run that day. I just make it inviting for everyone, and just something that they want to, that they look forward to coming to.
Yeah, and like you said, all the demand that it puts on a body. I mean, you have a passion for it. Obviously, your student athletes have a passion for it. What is it about this, with all the demand that it asks of you, with everything? I mean, and that it's not just this simple like, oh, go out and run, right? There's so many
Right.
different pieces to it, elements to it, how you treat your body, what you put into your body, the different things that have to happen in order for you to sustain different elements and different opportunities that are out there when it comes across country. So, what can you say to that effect of why you believe in it and why you see your student athletes believe in it when it is so demanding?
It's just with the demand that it requires, like when you can like just rise to the top of that and when you can conquer that, um, and just like the effort that you need to put forth. And once you can like conquer that and just start taking time off like overall and see that success, it becomes addictive. So like you'll take a minute off your time after like a month or two of hard work and you're like, wow, I could go faster. I
Yeah.
could put more into it. Like, and it just like keeps going and going. And like same thing for me, like, we won last year and I'm like, I want to win again. Like I want to build this back up and do it again and just continue that success. And as soon as we won, for the second year in a row, it's like, all right, let's go for the three-peat. Let's run it back again. Like let's, start, recruiting and like going out and like seeing who we can get. And the great thing about like when you have success with a program is success breeds success. So other people in the community are seeing this, they see what we have going on,
Yeah.
like, huh, what are they doing up there? I want to be a part of that. And you just keep building that forward. And then luckily this year, we have 7 freshmen on the team that all plan on returning next year. So we really have a great base to work off for next year.
Yeah, and like you said, when you get back-to-back championships, now you're already building toward the trifecta. You're already building out from that. You're not wasting any time. I love that side of it too that you brought up, because there's so many things about junior college that are not stated correctly. And
Right.
one of them is like, oh, you don't have to recruit, and there's not a lot of teams. There's not a lot of. I mean, there's over 20 programs at Onondaga Community College in the athletic department, and you are constantly recruiting. And the thing, and I'll get into this later, about what OCC is in and of itself. So I'll kind of just put that here on the side box that I have, and I'll take it back out because there's a bigger story to tell in that. But like you said, recruiting while you're winning, recruiting while the success is happening, recruiting while it's hot, saying, hey, we just had a two-peat. Do you want to be part of the three-peat? I
Right.
love that you're doing that, and it's something that a Bill Belichick would do, right? It's something that a Jim Boeheim would do. It's something that a Coach K would do, and a Nick Saban, and so on and so forth. There's the reality of, if you're trying to build a culture and win consistently, you really never stop recruiting as long as you do it within the confines of what you have to do, but you really never stop.
Right. Yeah, it's like a snowball effect. And once, you start winning and you see that success, it really becomes easy to recruit because you can't argue with championships. You can't, you win the region 2 years in a row, you win the conference 2 years in a row. It really speaks for itself. And kids want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of that success.
So for you, when you are on the recruiting trail and you have all these wonderful things to talk about, where does that trail take you? Do you try to stay within the state of New York? Do you try to stay within central and upstate? Are you willing to look outside? I mean, as you build toward the future, how do you assess that footprint? What is that footprint for you?
Yeah, so I would say that most of our recruits are local, and there is a lot of talent to tap in locally for cross country. I was just out at a Beeville meet last week recruiting, and then a great tool for me is our beautiful SRC arena that we have, and there are multiple indoor track meets hosted there by local high schools throughout the winter.
Yeah.
So it's really easy for me to just pop up there, on like a Wednesday afternoon and catch a few hours of a track meet, wearing my OCC gear, and I'll have some other members of the team kind of join me, and we'll just, see who we can talk to and see who we can get interested. And like I said, like a great perk is that, the SRC arena is another recruiting tool. I'm like, hey, would you like to come here and train in this facility,
Yeah.
year round? So that really makes my job a lot easier having that to kind of use as a tool for us and in the program.
Well, and you just touched on it, the SRC arena. Just what that means to have that on campus. I still feel like people don't understand the incredible value that
Yeah.
that has. And I mean, you walk in there, and every time I go in there, I'm like, man, if I was out here running the SRC arena, I'd have concerts all the time. I
Right.
know I know that there's a bunch of different sports that come in high school wise that you touched upon, so I mean, there's from certain games being there to high school meets and games being within there to graduation to all of these other elements. I mean, the SRC arena is one of the greatest gems that you have, but in actuality, Greg, when we're talking about the SRC and we branch out even farther, again, people's thoughts about junior college before they get on campus at OCC, the facilities, the amenities, like, you can live on campus at OCC. Not every JUCO place has that. And outside of the SRC arena, you have some of the best facilities in upstate New York. And I know that because I've traveled and I've seen it. And you walk out in some of those fields, and you walk out and you see the SRC arena, you go to the soccer, lacrosse field and whatnot, and you think to yourself, yeah, OCC's no slouch when it comes to facilities.
No, it could easily be confused for a D1, like a small D1 school. Absolutely, with the facilities that we have.
So for you, when you look at that, like you said, selling that, using that as another point of emphasis, just what that does for you when you're out there to show people like, hey, we don't just have like we have a lot of stuff. We have, the we look like a small NCAA Division I institution, like you stated. So when you get somebody to come and kind of look around, do you see their eyes light up and them go, "Oh, okay, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know you had this, or I didn't know that this was available to me."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second they walk into that arena, it's kind of like a game changer, especially, with our winter climate here in central New York,
Yeah.
in the winters. It really it sells itself. Like a lot of other colleges, the options are, outside and, 15-degree snowy weather or a treadmill. So it's like
Yeah.
with this, we have a great winter training facility. And it's yeah, like you said, like it's used for multiple different reasons. There was actually a boat show there like a few weeks ago. They had like 40 boats in there. We were returning from a meet and we were having to like zigzag through all the boats to like get back to the office. But
Yeah.
yeah, unless you've been in there, it's really hard to explain just like um, how big it is and like how um, just like how useful it is for our program and even more so for the track team. Um, whenever we practice, there's always someone just like training on blocks in there, and just like it's used all throughout the year.
Well, and Greg, for you, when you think about the fact that the YMCA is right there on campus as well, just the access to that for the student athletes and what that does, as you said, there's other places you can go and you could be outside freezing, or you can
Right.
utilize our facilities and have all of these wonderful amenities, one of them being the fact that the YMCA is there on campus.
Yeah. And that's actually how I got my start with OCC cross country. I was working out at the YMCA probably like 5 years ago, and I had like a great workout, and I was like, full of adrenaline and just like endorphins and feeling great. And I saw the team practicing down below on the track, and I went down there and, Rob Colvin, who was the head coach at the time, I went up to him and I was like, hey, would you mind if I, did the workout with the team? And, he could have easily just said, no, like go away. But he was inviting and he was like, yeah, sure, we'll see. And so I did the workout and about halfway through, he comes up to me and he's like, hey, I'm actually looking for an assistant. Would you be interested? And it was always my dream to coach. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I joined. And then about a month later, COVID hit and everything was shut down for,
Yeah.
a year or so. But, and then I, spent a few years as the assistant under Rob before I, took over as head coach last year.
You said it was always your dream to coach. Why?
Well, so I started running in the seventh grade, and I actually won my first meet. It was an 800 meters, and I had no idea what to expect with that race, but I just ran the first lap, and then the second lap started, and I just kind of like pulled away, and from that point forward, I was hooked. I was like, you can't compete and win in your first race and not be hooked to the sport.
Yeah.
So from that point forward, I just like continued to train and, kind of like build out my running resume and, started doing other events and, just took like a leadership role with my teams that I was on in high school. And, I kind of always looked up to the coaches that I had. And I was like, this is something I'd like to pursue one day. Um, I didn't necessarily pursue that when I went to school, but I was just hoping that someday, an opportunity might present itself, and it did, and it's worked out really well for me so far.
And when you said, you experienced success so early on, how could you not like it, right? And
Right. Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
when when you have that early success, it's a beautiful thing, and you also know eventually that adversity comes with it too. So,
Right.
how did you handle adversity as an athlete, and also handling adversity as an assistant coach and a head coach? How have you navigated through that?
So I do so with just like a positive outlook and mindset towards like anything. I try to spin anything I can just into like a positive light. And I think more often than not, that's like really benefited myself and also benefited the team. Um, I've had, kids come up to me this year and they'll be like, hey, my goal for the race is, X. It's 29 minutes. And,
Yeah,
they'll end up running like a 29:08 and they'll be down on themselves. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? Like that was an amazing race. You cannot get down on yourself for like an 8-second difference in time over like a 5 mile
right.
race. That's just, um, so I think just like, staying positive and just really just like focusing on what I can do, what the team can do to improve on, whatever is holding us up at the moment, like whether it's like an injury or just like maybe like a scheduling conflict with classes or anything that comes up, just, try to stay positive and figure out a solution.
Yeah, and like like you said, going through that and having that positivity. Have you always been a positive human being, or is it something that you had to learn over time?
Yeah, it's kind of both. I've always been that way. And then, I think just seeing like, peers who like kind of share my mentality and like it just like kind of reinforces like, yeah, that's who I want to be. And then I'll see, maybe some examples of like what I don't want to be. And I'll just like reinforces like my attitude, even more. It's like, yeah, that's not, I'm not going to be that type of coach. I'm not going to be, like I guess like someone who's like strict or who's going to like, yell and like, come down on players for like performing poorly. That's just like not in me. It's always just like a positive to like, and I think that, by doing that, it just like, it encourages my athletes just like to stick with it and to keep going in. Because if they were coming into like practice or to meets thinking, oh, like, I don't want coach to be mad at me or something, that's not it at all. I want them to be successful for them, but also like for the team, like as well. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, for you, just the way that you lead, the way that you want to bring up these student athletes. We got a message that came in from Raul that said "best coach ever," and so a couple messages that came in that respect, and then obviously I had the opportunity this season to already speak with Paul Clark,
Yeah.
and Paul just talking about his experience and what he's taken away. So when you look at your student athletes that you have right now in this moment, and I'm looking up and down the line here of Jackson and Garrett, John, Gannon, Paul, Trenton, Ouden, and Rowell as well, who's watching here. So shout out to
Yeah.
him. You know,
Yeah, I'll need to mention Raul real quick.
yeah,
So going into regionals, I put a lot of pressure on him, and I told him, and I don't like doing this, but it needed to be said. I was like, Raul, I need you to beat these like 5 or 6 people at the regional race. I was like, if you don't, we will lose. Like it's
yeah,
as simple as that. And he
yeah,
accepted that, and he carried that. And he put the team on his shoulders, and he outperformed, and he got a personal record at Finger Lakes, which is a very difficult cross country course. And he PR'd by I want to say like 45 seconds or close to it. And he just had the race of his life. So really proud of him for that and proud of the whole team. Throughout the whole season, we had regional circled on the schedule
yeah,
and we would do like mock races and we'd gather all the times from, all the teams in our region and like put them into a spreadsheet and just be like, okay, this is where we stack up. This is who we need to beat at the regional race. So and I mentioned this earlier, like the emphasis was on this one race alone. We really did not care. Well, I shouldn't say care, but we weren't concerned as much with the other races. Like consider those more of like a preseason sort of like schedule, and then the regional races like where we really show out. Yeah, shout out to the team there for just everyone having their absolute best day last Saturday.
Yeah.
And then, the other kids on the team, like everyone has a unique personality on the team, and they are so much fun to be around. I actually, in my huddle before the regional race, I told them, like, this is a race for our season's survival. Like, we lose, we don't advance. And I was like, I really want this team to advance because I have so much fun with them. Like, when we do, like, the team dinners, and just really like in practices too, we just have a great time together. So I was like, I want to be able to do that with everyone in Iowa. Like I want to take this and like just have like the best time, like something that we'll remember for the rest of our lives, like in Iowa. So yeah, it's a really really great group of kids, and they all bring something different to the table as far as like personalities and yeah, we have a great time.
Yeah, the message back from Raul was couldn't do it without you, coach. So
Appreciate that. Yeah.
very, very kind words here. And when we look to the team and the names that I just mentioned that are on the 2025 squad here for Onondaga Community College Lazers men's cross country, we look at the representation of Clay, Camillus, Greenville, Chittenango, Baldwinsville, as well as Trumansburg, Liverpool, and Middletown, New York. And like you said, recruiting the state of New York. I love seeing this. And what I love about OCC is that you can literally have, when people come into Syracuse, they come into central New York, you can be that, welcome mat, so to speak, because the facilities are great. Let me start where it's most important. The human beings are great. The opportunities are great to excel. There's amazing scholastic side of things that people don't really pay attention to and what's available there. I mean, I went and did an event at the TV studio, and I was like, well, this is as good as the NCAA ones because I've been in, and spent a lot of time in an NCAA TV studio. So, there's that reality. There's, the facilities, as I spoke about, the YMCA being there. OCC is something really, truly special. And when we talk cross country, when we talk basketball going to the national stage, when we discuss what baseball has done throughout history, when we look at what men's and women's soccer fights toward and what they've done in great moments this season, volleyball has been fantastic. I mean, there's so many things to say about OCC. So when people say to me, "Oh, in Syracuse, New York, I want to cheer for a champion. I want to be out here. Why is the Syracuse basketball team playing so bad and this, that, whatever?" And I tell people, "Hey, you can go to OCC right now, watch a championship. You go to OCC on the road, see a championship. You go to OCC right now, see that undefeated team or that undefeated team." So I just want to thank not only you as a coach, but OCC in general. And this was that point that I said I was going to put in the box and take back out. OCC is not a one-trick pony. It's not a one sport that they lean in on. Onondaga Community College, unlike other places I know, have so much success throughout so many athletic programs that when you're watching a different sport and you're locked in on cross country, you got a chance of winning a championship. You get locked in on soccer, locked in on basketball, locked in on lacrosse, of course, and their history. There's so much success at OCC that when you go there each year, it's not about, can one team win a championship? It's how many can we get? And so I want to say that about Onondaga Community College, that in the city of Syracuse, New York, when they say, where do I go? What do I watch? What can I do? Well, you drive up on the hill and you got an opportunity to see more than one is what I say.
Right. Yeah, that's and I something I just want to touch on and you had mentioned is just like the athletic department and the staff, the support staff I have around me are second to none. They've been incredibly helpful throughout my time at OCC. Like even just like this past weekend, when we won the region and as soon as like the excitement wore off, I'm like, oh man, I have to plan a trip to Iowa now. And
Okay.
then by end of day Monday, like we had our plane tickets booked, hotel booked, car rental booked, everything like, team dinners paid for. And I was just like, wow, like that's incredible to have that done like so quickly. And like I didn't have to do a thing throughout that whole process. So I can just focus on coaching the athletes. So yeah, just all around the athletic department is really incredible at OCC.
Yeah, and it should be shouted out. I'm gonna shout out this person because I can't wait to see your reaction, and I also she will know that this will be a fun inside joke for us. But Taylor Casella, who's always behind the scenes in that SID world, she's toyed with me before and said, "Oh, what if I came on? What if I talked? Oh, nobody wants to hear that. Or if I did this and I did that, nobody wants to hear that." And I disagree, and I've told her multiple times that when it comes to sports information directors, they're not all the same. And many of them do not act like Taylor. Many of them are not as quick to get things done. Many of them are not as focused, are not as communicative, not as welcoming, not as hospitable, not as understanding. And she has done more in 2.5, 3 months than I've seen some SIDs that I've worked around for a decade. So I would love to get your thoughts since she is not on the show right now and we can say whatever we want, Greg. What would you say about Taylor Casella and the work that she does when you talk about support staff and who's in the athletic department?
Yeah, she's been incredibly helpful. Like over the past like few years, she's helped out with our social media posts and doing graphics for that. And then also like the write-ups after the race that get posted on the site. She's always like working with me on those the Monday after the meet to make sure that we get those results posted right away. And then like whenever I need anything, like if I reach out, I know that she's gonna respond like within the hour. She's quick to respond to me if there's any concerns. And that really goes for the entire staff. Everyone's just been like super helpful. And like I said before, like I couldn't do it without them. They've been just like key to the success of the program.
So my question for you is should we get her on the show at some point in her
Oh yeah,
life?
absolutely. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Greg Kielar here with us, the Lazer Lounge with OCC Lasers Men's Cross Country head coach, back-to-back Region 3 champs, back-to-back Region 3 Coach of the Year. Let's go to that. I'm going to make you talk about yourself for a second. To be
Oh boy.
Coach of the Year once in your life is great. To be Coach of the Year more than that is, very, 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 very rare. And you said it was a dream of yours to be a coach, and now you have been a coach of the year multiple times. So to that little kid and that young adult that thought, hey, maybe I want to be a coach, maybe this is my thing, to be a grown man saying coach of the year will forever be in your history and probably more than just these two. So what does that mean to you?
It means everything. It's like I said before, it was a dream of mine growing up, and anything that I pursued, I just wanted to go all out with it. So and coaching is no different. I want the success. Yes, like winning does mean a lot, but I think it's more of just like the bonds that I build, throughout the season. Those mean more to me than winning anything. It's I'll remember those like long after like I remember winning Coach of the Year. So I think just like kind of approaching it with that mentality of just like building these bonds and connections with the athletes and developing them so that they can go on, maybe to like a 4-year school and run or just like go on and just like have this sort of like mindset that they can accomplish anything in life. And that's really what running does. It gives you that mindset that, if I can run 5 miles in, 27 minutes, like the rest of my day after that's going to be easy. Like my homework's easy because I
Yeah.
can do that. And that's something that I've taken, from my years of running is that, like I'll accomplish something and then be like, well, anything I do from this point forward is it's going to seem pretty easy compared to that because it just instills that mindset into you of like hard work pays off. But yeah, your question, like what it means to me, it really is like special. It's really special for my family too and friends. Um, they were really excited to like hear the news that I'd won 2 years in a row, that we had won 2 years in a row. And yeah, I just want to keep it going now. Just continue to build the culture and chase after the three-peat.
And you said Rob Colvin, your assistant. What can you say about Rob?
He has just been, like instrumental in our success. He really, my first year, he kind of took me under his wing when I was like the assistant and like kind of showed me his processes of how he would go about things. Like the administrative side too. Like he was kind of like preparing me to eventually be the head coach. But it worked out great, for me because I had 2 years essentially to just like train under him and kind of like learn what he was doing. He was a very successful runner. Back in his time, he ran D1 at Houston,
Yeah.
and then I believe either Western or Eastern Kentucky. And so he has a lot of knowledge of the sport. He knows all the best workouts to do, like certain times a year. And so, like, I've used a lot of that in my training of the athletes now. But, he's really become like a great friend of mine too. We've gone golfing a lot together, although, both of us are probably like not the best golfers. We still have like a fun time doing it together. And yeah, he's just like, he's been a great mentor of mine over the past, 4 or 5 years.
Greg Kielar here with us. Lazer Lounge, exclusive in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Onondaga Community College and your Lasers. Here with the men's and women's cross country head coach, celebrating back-to-back Region 3 championships and back-to-back Region 3 Coach of the Year. And of course, we will have more on the plate, which is what we've talked about, with the fact that there is plenty more to come here after the MSAC championship and the Region 3 championship. We now head on to Fort Dodge, Iowa, with an opportunity in nationals. But you made mention of, hey, listen, we're focused, everything that we do this season is leading up to the MSAC and the Region 3. We need to be focused on winning our conference, winning our region, handling business, and having more life. But you do schedule those meets so that you can work your way into this and have the experience. You've done it with NCAA teams in Division I, Division III, Lemoyne College, SUNY Oswego, Finger Lakes Community College, Roberts Wesleyan University, and Hamilton College, all in the state of New York. So having this schedule that you had leading into the MSAC and the NJCAA Region 3, what can you say to what you chose to be a part of and the fact that you have your cross-country team going up against those in the NCAA and those in NCAA Division I now with Lemoyne and Division III and so on and so forth?
Yeah, and I think it really speaks a lot to the success of our program that, when we went to those local meets, well, I say local, like within like an hour or so of campus, we found success at those meets. We, found ourselves in situations where we were defeating, Division II, Division III schools at those meets.
Yeah.
And just the confidence that it gives our athletes once that happens, like once we beat those teams, they really start to buy into the process, and they see that, wow, we're a successful team, like we're a fast team. So the meets that we chose, a lot of them are, on courses that, are a little bit more difficult than, I think some of the courses that teams at the national level, they run throughout the year. So we typically find success when we go from like regionals to nationals. Like, last year, I think we were ranked maybe 9th or 10th going into nationals. But at the meet, we placed 4th, which was, a great accomplishment for us. And I think the reason being is because we really load up our schedule with meets that there's a lot of elevation throughout the meet. So our
Yeah.
times are a little bit skewed because of that elevation. And that times that are posted, throughout the country from other teams that might not necessarily have the same elevation that they're running for their meet. So I like to utilize like a tougher schedule throughout the year, and then once we get to like regionals and nationals, that's when like we get to courses, especially for nationals, which is supposed to be like a really flat course. I really expect that our times are going to be dramatically faster once we get there. Um, for Iowa next weekend.
Well, like you said, everything that you, I mean, a great coach when you're planning out your schedule is planning out things that you think are going to help your team. And like you said, having inclines and having different things that you've had along the way, you say, okay, let me test y'all with this because we're going to be on a flat course. And if you can do this all where it's not flat, then I imagine you're going to be a lot faster, as you just made mention of. Just speak to the strategy of that, of, hey, I'm going to challenge us. I'm going to make things a little more rocky, a little more difficult, because then when you get to this national stage, you're going to be like, wow, well, if I could do all of this like this, then I could
Right.
definitely do it on the flat course.
Right. And I mean, like, I guess that really speaks to like the scheduling of like our training throughout the season. And it's basically like in the beginning of the season, that's when we're really like tearing down our bodies and like just going after it, like running hills and just like doing everything we can to just like I basically break down the muscle so that it grows back stronger. And when we, throughout the course of the season, we'll start, slowly like eliminating workouts that cause like that sort of like muscle damage or like tears. Like, so like hills, we won't do like after like, the end of September
Yeah.
because it takes like a toll on your body. And we'll start introducing a little bit shorter of like intervals in practices too. And just like as the season goes along, we're to the point now where practices are a lot of fun because it's shorter intervals, shorter, faster intervals. Just like something quick to get the turnover going and for everyone to have confidence in their stride and their ability. And they walk away from those workouts like feeling refreshed, like at this point of year, and happy because a lot of the kids on the team also run track and they really enjoy like the mid distances in track. So like 800 or like mile. And so this time of year especially is like and the temperatures are cooler and everyone's like in a good mood now that we've won the region.
Yeah.
We're really kind of like getting into like this spot where like, momentum is really high. And when you're coming away from practice and everyone's like happy that we just had like a really difficult workout, it's like that's a great place to be in at that point.
Yeah. Happy within the challenge is definitely
Exactly.
a good
Yeah.
place to have the team. Well, Greg, let's play some rapid fire before we hop out of here. Once again, back-to-back Region 3 champs for men's cross country at OCC here in Syracuse, New York, and back-to-back Region 3 Coach of the Year. You're looking at him, Mr. Greg Kielar. So, Greg, you get the first question. It can be sports or anything related to literally any topic. So, whatever you
All
have
right.
for me, you can ask me a question, and then I'll ask you one.
So who has been your most like high profile interview so far?
In the
If,
sport,
and also like
yeah.
or favorite, high profile or favorite, either one, I guess.
So we do a lot of different shows, and in the entertainment world, I just had the opportunity to speak with 50% of the original Fantastic Four, which is insane. So I spoke with Mr. Fantastic, Johan Griffith, and The Thing, Michael Chiklis. And
Wow.
so that was really, really cool at New York Comic Con for Superpowered Pop, our entertainment show. I also spoke with Paul Walter Hauser, who's been in a million different things, but I love him in Richard Jewell, is where I first saw him. And he was Mole Man in the new Fantastic Four. So a lot of kind of Fantastic Four connections here, which also fits that color that you're wearing for OCC because that's
Right.
that's that's within their suit. But yeah, in the sports world, I would say, I mean, I I always go back to, it's so easy for me to drum it up when I get asked a question that is anything like this, but you know, we became friends, and I miss him terribly. I think about him all the time, sometimes daily, and I can't even believe that I knew him, that I know him, that I consider him a friend, and that to me is like if I got to shake his hand, if you told me you're going to meet this guy, you're going to shake his hand, you're going to get an autograph, he's going to wink at you, he's going to give you a hug, I would have been like, great, awesome, for my life. And we ended up having 8 years of a friendship that will continue on forever, as I know he's up in heaven right now. And so those years continue to go. But yeah, almost a decade before he passed away, we just had these wonderful, wonderful moments together. And that's the absolutely incredible football player, better human, Floyd Little.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, Floyd, when I made a decision to start my company at 26 years old, I spoke with my mom, my dad, my mom's mom, my G mama, and Floyd Little. And he was a part of that. So I'll never forget what he said to me. I'll never forget how he said it. And I walked into his office, and I thought he was still on the phone. And he looked at me, and he said, you know, he's like, and he used to get get louder and then whisper.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, you know what? He said, you got it. You got that. He's like, you got that aura. You got that aura. He said, not everybody has it. So when you walk in, you see people, he's like, not everybody has that energy around them. He's like, but you got it. He said, you're going to be all right. I can tell you're going to be successful. You're going to be all right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I'll never forget that conversation that we had, because it was like one of the things that pushed me over to be like, all right, you know what? I need to do this now. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So I'm going to say Floyd. My question back to you. Okay. So since I can't talk about why I have my mustache and not my goatee right now, but it's cool and I hope I get to talk about it soon. If you could do anything, because I asked God, I said, I would like to do more of these things. I would like to expand out. There's more than just broadcasting, which has been phenomenal and great. But if anybody that knows me knows that I have a many, many, many dreams, and I will do them all before I go. So if you could do anything outside of sports and outside of cross country, what would that dream be, and why?
The first thing that comes to mind is just travel, travel the world. When I was in college, I got the opportunity to study abroad in Scotland, and that was just like an incredible experience. And I got to see a lot of Europe while I was over there. So I think, like travel the world and, run in all the places that I travel to, like that was always like a favorite thing of mine to do. It's just like, new state, like, okay, I want to, try to see if I can run like 3 miles in every state, or, same thing for like countries too. Like, all right, I want to find the, most beautiful place to run. So yeah, it would definitely have to be like, just traveling and adventuring, throughout the world.
I love it. I said, give me something other than cross
I'm
country,
sorry, yeah.
and you said
Yeah,
travel, but to
going
run in
back.
those places. And
Right.
I think it's beautiful, because
Yeah.
while you were saying it, I was seeing it, and I was like, man, there's places in Italy he would really like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What
Yeah.
what's your next one for me?
Um, are you going to the game this Friday?
I will be at the game. So, wake up call. We have the game day live on location broadcast at Myers Creek. So we are for every home game, and we have two more. So this Friday, October 31st, and actually perfect segue, because I was going to do this when you went off the show, but I'll do it now. This Friday, October 31st, on Halloween, Wake Up Call Game Day returns to Myers Creek, Syracuse Inner Harbor, less than 10 minutes from the Dome. And we will be there at 4:30. Isaac Alford and myself will be at Myers Creek, Syracuse Inner Harbor, 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse. and we will be pre-gaming with the fans at 4:30, and then the game kicks off at 7:30. So I will be at the game, but before I go to the game, I will be providing a spooktacular wake-up call game day of sorts, and we will have some type of costuming. I think Isaac and I agreed that we will be dressed up as something, which actually fits my mustache right now, which is pretty ironic and kind of funny that I'm realizing that right now. So there's something that we kind of jokingly have as friends, and Isaac's become a brother to me. So there are brothers in a video game that may show up for Wake Up Call game day for us to do this that way. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
My question back to you is, as a Syracuse football fan, who is your all-time favorite Syracuse football player, and who's your favorite right now?
So I am a fan, but I might not. I know that, Collins is on the team, is our quarterback right now.
Yes.
Right? Rico Collins. Yeah.
Ricky Collins, yeah.
Ricky Collins. Okay, sorry.
Very good.
And then I'd have to say, and I'm not going to be able to know his name or remember his name from last year, but the tight end who's playing for the Chargers now.
Arande Gadsden the second.
Yeah, he was just such a dynamic player, and I got to see him, in person when I went to the game, and so probably him. He's the first person that I could think of, but yeah.
All
I'm
right.
more of a Syracuse basketball fan. I think that's kind of more my forte.
Okay.
Just growing up, and I remember watching them make their run, their championship run, and that there was a big ice storm that year, and we were watching the TV on generators. I don't know, maybe 10 years old. And that was the only thing. The generators were for heat, and then the TV, so we could watch them in the Elite Eight that year. So I'm definitely more of a basketball fan for sure.
Yeah, I can appreciate and respect that, and definitely I will say to you, well, this Friday you're supposed to wear orange, so
Yes,
make sure
yeah,
you do that, and if
Right.
you wear anything OCC related underneath, make sure that it is white this week.
Right.
So not baby blue this week. So what's
Right.
your last question for me?
Let's see. What's something that you enjoy doing outside of the podcast? What's your favorite hobby?
That's a good question. I would say, it's a hobby that I want to turn into a profession of sorts in some respect, but I have been singing since I was 3, and my mom's really good at it. My grandfather was amazing. I'm sure he's up there singing with my grandma, but I would say musically, if I stop singing and I stop living in that world, I kind of see the deterioration of my world, so to speak. I'm not myself when I'm not musically connected. And so even if it's yesterday, I was just singing I don't know why the song came back into my brain, but there's a song from Rascal Flatts, and I'm going to forget the woman that's in the song, but it's a very sad but beautiful song, and it kind of just came through. But I let those moments happen because I have found in myself that if I don't sing, if I don't practice it, if I don't kind of just let it be what it is and have those moments, I feel very off. So
Right.
I would say I want to do something more with my music, because I definitely, there's something that music does for me that nothing else does.
That's awesome.
I
You
would
should incorporate that into your podcast. Maybe a sing off sort of
have a sing
section. Yeah.
off with athletes. That'd be fun.
Right. Yeah.
Give me the
Put 'em on
athletes that can
spot. No,
sing.
we're not gonna start it with this session though. Let's see.
No, we'll start it with Taylor. And
There you go. Perfect.
So my question, or Mike Borsch, we could have Mike back on the show.
Right. Yeah.
My question back to you. All right, let's stay with music. If you were touring and you got to be on the bus with any 3 individual singers and or bands, who would you want to tour with?
All right, so the first one's Billy Strings.
Okay.
Um, he's like kind of like a new age, like bluegrass type of band. And then growing up, Shinedown was one of my favorite bands.
Okay.
So them, and then Ben Folds would be the third one. Not a lot of people know Ben Folds. If I mentioned Ben Folds at practice, I know like no one would have any idea who I'm talking about. But he's sort of like a poor man's Elton John, basically.
Okay.
He's a piano singer, and
Yeah, I've
I've
heard
been
of
to
him.
like probably like three or four of his concerts, and he always puts on like a great show, and it's a lot of fun. So I'll probably go with those three, and
Okay.
that would definitely be like an interesting bus ride with the three of those.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, that'd be pretty cool. But I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing is, where would you want to go? And Natasha Bedingfield was the person I was thinking of with Rascal Flatts. I want to make sure I said
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But with this being said, the Lazer Lounge, Greg Kielar, the team, and Greg and Rob, everybody's going out to Iowa, and we're looking forward to this opportunity at Nationals and the NJC. Double A, let you know one more time that it will be November 8th. So that's coming up here very, very soon. Not this week, but next week. So a week from Saturday in Fort Dodge, Iowa, NJCAA Nationals will be going on for men's cross country, and we will have the opportunity to see just how far this OCC team can take us. So with that being said, for the Lasers, Mr. Greg Kielar, thanks for being a part of the show, Greg. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Listen, travel safe. We'll keep in touch, and I'll talk with you soon.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
That coming from Greg Kielar one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And of course, we already jumped into the Syracuse football side of things. I was going to just make a note here today to let you know that in 2 days, in 48 hours and some change, we will be on site, on location at Myers Creek as Wake Up Call Game Day returns to you, the fan. And we will be there with Isaac Alford, myself, Dan Tortora, and all of you wonderful faces at Myers Creek on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. It is just a few minutes from the Dome. We will be there this Friday, so get out of work early. This Friday, October 31st at 4:30 p.m., we will start Wake Up Call Game Day for Syracuse Orange versus North Carolina Tar Heels football, Fran Brown versus Bill Belichick, and then we will head with you to the Dome for the 7:30 kickoff this Friday on Halloween. With this video now complete, we will end this video as we always do on a Wednesday to start our fantasy football video. So for those of you waiting for fantasy football advice, I appreciate your patience. We will be back right after this. Stay with us.